Mishenichnas Adar Marvin B'Simcha. When we enter the month of Adar, we are very happy. We increase happiness. This week is the Parsha of Tetzaveh, the only Parsha where Moshe's name is not mentioned. And let us see a few minutes. We'll talk about Parsha Tetzaveh and then about the Megillas Esther. The month of Adar is the month of Simcha. We hope there will be a very big Simcha this month, and maybe Hashem will eliminate the problem of Persia, like He did thousands of years ago. And this is the time that's mesugal for that. It's just perfect. If you think about what happened to us in Adar, how lucky we were, and how unfortunate our opponents were, maybe it'll happen again. If you think about it, B'simcha and B'machshava is the same word. Because you're B'machshava, you can think what happened then, might happen again. So let us talk a few minutes about the Parsha Tetzaveh, then we'll talk about Adar and Megillas Esther. First of all, this week's Parsha starts out with Ato. Ato Tetzaveh, Ato Tetzaveh is B'nai Yisrael, and you shall command B'nai Yisrael. Talking to Moshe Rabbeinu, little strange, isn't it, that you don't say V'yadav Hashem al Moshe Lemor, you talk out with the pronoun Ato, you. It's not very respectful. V'yikra Lech Hashem and Zai Yisok, they should bring to you, Moshe, so supervise the pure olive oil used in the menorah for lighting. Kosis, squeezed. Lamaor, for the lighting, Lahalos, Ner Tomid, to put the light up, Tomid. Not continuously, but constantly. Every evening it was lit, and every morning the Kohen Gadol came in and cleaned out the wicks and oil and set it up for the next evening. So the Tomid, by the Lechem Hapanim, which was on every minute of every second of every day of every week was always on the table. That's called continuously Tomid. But the menorah that was only lit in the evening and went out in the morning, that's called Tomid, not continuously, but constantly. So why is Moshe's name not mentioned in this Sedra? All over the Torah, Moshe's name is mentioned in every Parsha except this Parsha. Why? So my Rabbi told me that when I was a young kid. And as he said, Moshe's name is in every Parsha except this one. Of course, that is an untruth. And the Rabbi should know there's some kids that are alert, and they know what's going on. And he said, what do you mean? I said, Moshe's name is not mentioned in the whole Sefer of Bereshit. He said, oh, that's what I meant. I said, but you didn't say that. So Moshe wasn't born yet, so that's Bereshit is out. And in Devarim, which is a review of the Torah, sometimes Moshe's name is not mentioned, but that's okay too, because it's only review. The Iker Torah is Shmos v'Yikra B'Midbar. Of course you need Bereshis. Of course you need Devarim. But the story about what happened in the Midbar, and in Mitzrayim, and Moshe lived at the end, the last year of Mitzrayim, the 40 years in the Midbar, and he started when he was 80, and he was lifted when he was 120, so the B'Midbar, Shmos v'Yikra B'Midbar is about Moshe's life. So Moshe's name is mentioned in every Parsha since he was born in Shemos until every Parsha until Bamidbar and most of Devarim, but not in this Sedra. How come? And he starts out with a little disrespect. Hashem said to Moshe, you. That's how you talk to a tzaddik, greatest tzaddik in the world? You? Obviously Hashem was a little annoyed at Moshe for something. What was that thing? You know, the Torah is not written in chronological order. Ein muktam u'mu'ucher b'Torah. Whenever you see that, don't believe it. The Torah is written in complete chronological order, except for a few places. And this is one of them. Because the Egel, where Moshe said, if you don't forgive the Jewish people, wipe my name out of the Torah, that comes next week's Sedra. So that little thing, building the Mishkan, which is a gold building, a kapora for a golden egel. So the egel came next week, and the building Mishkan this week should be the other way around. So it has a reason. First we talk about Mishpatim, Ben Odom L'Chaveru, then we talk about the Mishkan, Ben Odom L'Makom, so Mishpatim is in order, which means the main thing in Yiddishkeit is between man and man. And Mishpatim, all about Ben Odom L'Chaveru. That's very important. Secondary between you and God. Because when Hashem came to Avram on the third day after the Bris Milah in the 99th year, at the moment Hashem came, the same moment came three people. He thought they were people. Looked like Arabs. So he said to Hashem, could you wait a minute please? I have to take care of these people. And that was the right order. From there, Rashi learns, Mikan, from here you learn, says Rashi there, that Kabbalah's, that Pachnosas Orchim, inviting guests into your house is greater. God Godel, the Kabbalah's Pnei Ashchina, they're talking to the Creator. So the main creed of Yahadus is Ben Olam Chaver, you know that. Yom Kippur is only between, the Aver is between Olam Chaver. So, first comes Mishpatim. That's all about interaction with men. Then comes Truma, about building the Mishkan, Tetzaveh, the continuation of the Mishkan, the oil, and the Mizbeach HaZohav, and the Kohanim Mizbegodim. So, that's why it's not in order. However, Hashem was angry at Moshe because he says, if you don't forgive the Jewish people, 40-day tefillah, after they made the ego, wipe me out of your sefer that you have written. So that was a little bit sharp. So Hashem said, no, I know you meant it L'Shem Shemayim, you wanted to save the Klal Yisrael, so I won't wipe your name out. But I will wipe it out of one parsha, Tetzaveh. Why Tetzaveh? Why not some other parsha? 3 reasons. Number 1, Moshe is not in this parsha. You know why? Because Tetzaveh always comes out on the yahrzeit of Moshe Rabbeinu. This week is Zayin Ador. Therefore, he is nostalgic min ha'olam. He disappears, so he's nostalgic min ha'parsha. Tetzaveh always comes out in the week of Zayin Ador. That's 1. Number 2, Moshe says, from your book. May Sefer Chof, the 20th book, the 20th parsha from Bereshis is this one. May Sefer Chof, because Bereshis has 12 sedras, and this is the 8th one in Shemos. 8 and 12 is 20. Shemos, V'eira, Bo, V'shalach, Yisro, Mishpatim, Truma, Tetzaveh, 8. 8 and 12 is 20. And why just the 20th parsha? Why just on the week that Moshe dies? Because it says, Ato Tetzaveh b'nei Yisrael, you command them to take for you, Shem Zayzoch. This is the only thing of the Mishkan that is under Moshe, directly his supervision. The oil over the menorah, that's under him, not Betzalel. He has to collect it and see that it was the right season when they picked the olives, and only were squeezed, not ground, and they were the purest of the pure for the menorah, and menorah is for the oil, and oil gives light. Moshe teaches light, Torah to the people. So under Moshe. So that is the sharpest criticism against Moshe. Since Moshe is the main person here, Ato he calls him, you, hey you. That's a reprimand. That's not nice. These are the 3 reasons why Moshe's name is wiped out of Tetzaveh. It's the 20th Sedra. Moshe is the main supervisor, and he doesn't start out with the proper greeting. And the 3rd is Moshe disappears at this week. That's why we read that parsha where Moshe's name is missing. There's a 4th reason. Really, Moshe's name is in every single pasuk. How do you know? There's 101 pasukim in Tetzaveh. And the Miloi of Moshe's name is 101. Miloi means the fill up. Take the word mem, shin, hey, right, Moshe? Take away the mem, the shin, the hey. How do you write the word mem? Mem. So you take away the first mem, and the other mem is 40. Shin, take away the shin. Yud nun. Yud and 50 is 60. 60 and 40 is 100. Hey, aleph. Take away the hey, you got aleph, 101. 101 pasukim. The Miloi of Moshe's name is 101. So really his name is hinted to in every single pasuk, even though you don't see it. And the angel of Hashem in Shema to protect Klal Yisrael is Michael, which is 101. And Moshe is on this earth, 101. 4 reasons why Moshe's name is not in this parasha. Interesting, isn't it? Look how deep the Torah is. Look how deep the Torah is. Look how deep the Torah is. This is just 4 reasons. I can't even tell you a whole page of things. Can't do that. not enough time. Look how multi-level the Torah is. That's why in the Mishkan, when you go from the Chutzner to the Mishkan to the Kodesh, from the Kodesh to the Kodesh Kedoshim, when you come in the Mishkan, the Kodesh, there's 5 poles holding up the curtain. When you go further, going into Kodesh Kedoshim, there's only 4. Why? To come into the Mishkan, you have to know Chamisha Chumash Torah, 5. You have to know the whole written law, which means all the oral law, with all the deep meanings. Once you're a master of Torah, you know the Chachmas Hanigla, everything that you're supposed to know, Mishnah, Gemara, everything. Then you come to the Kodesh Kedoshim, 4. You want to get to know Hashem, Yud, K, Vav, K, 4. That's beyond Torah Hanigla. That's already Nista stuff. That's a higher madrega than 5. It's 4. Yud K Vav K. That's only for special people. No one goes into the Kodesh Kedoshim. Only once a year the Kohen Gadol, 3 times. And that's what we fall down Yom Kippur on our faces. Hanu Hashem, Chodozi, Aviz, Yom Shavni. Everybody, Kayokorim, Bahayayayayay. Shame Anichva Nord, Yosef P. Kohen Gadol. I'm Mishtachim Modim, Nofel Alpaneim, they fell on their face. And they said, Baruch Shem Kavod Machasod Lomved. The base of English, you never say Amen. He said, Baruch Shem Kavod Machasod Lomved. Anyhow, let's look at the Parshas. Ato Tetzaveh B'nai Yisrael, command the B'nai Yisrael. Yichve Lecha, they should take for you Shaman, oil, Zayis of olives, Zoch, pure, Kosis, squeeze, not ground, squeeze, Lamaor for the lighting, Lahalos to light, Ner, the light, Tomid, continuously, every single evening, even on Shabbos. Kosis, squeeze. How long did they squeeze the oil? After the Mishkan, 40 years, another 410 for the first bias, and 420 for the second. That builds right into the word kosis. Kof, Saf, 420. Yud, Saf, 410. There it is. Second bias and first bias, right there in the word kosis. Like we learned in last week's Parshas, I will dwell amongst you. V'shochan T, 410. Now, in the same word, V'sheni Chof Tov. And the second one was 420. V'shochan T has in it 410 and 420. That's the Bayis Rishon was 410, the second one was 420. And this week's has it too. Kosis, Chof, Sof, 420, that's the second Bayis. And Yud Sof, end of the word, that's 410. For Ohel Moed, in the tent of meeting, that's the Mishkan, it's called Ohel Moed. The Chutz La Brochas, outside the Brochas, the menorah is outside the Brochas. Asher Al Ha'edis, the Brochas is over the testimony, the Luchos in the box, in front of the Luchos, of the Edus, the testimony. Because everybody saw Hashem's voice. They saw the words Anochi Hashem Lekecha. They saw him go onto the luchos and engrave it into the rock. That was the testimony that God spoke to Moshe Rabbeinu. We heard it. Al Eidos Yarach also he should arrange it. The menorah, one of his sons, the Erev Ad Boker should burn from evening to the morning. The Pnei Hashem before God, Chukas Olam, everlasting statute, the Doros of all future generations. And we have a reminder of that in every shul, every yeshiva, near Tamid. It burns all the time. Now, in the base of Mikdash, all the light candles, they had oil. All the oil went out in the morning. Not true. The Ner Maravi, the western light, always stayed on. 24 hours a day, forever and ever and ever and ever. Never went out. Alpines. It's called the Ner Tamid, the constant light. Ner Maravi, the western one. Because the menorah was on the southern wall, and you stood behind it. So this Ner Maravi, the western one, faced the Kodesh Kedoshim. And some say the menorah was like this. So the middle one faced the Kodesh Kedoshim. That's the Ner Tamid. The one facing Maravi, even though it's the middle one. Big machlokas had him notice to it this way, east to west, or north to south. So if it was this way, it was the last light facing Marav. If it was this way, the middle one faced Marav. Now let's take the word kosis. There were 3 types of oil. The one from the olive tree gets when the season comes, the top of the tree gets ripe first. A few days or weeks later, the middle of the tree, then the bottom of the tree, because it's covered with the leaves, the shadow. So the top of the tree, with the sun hits the sun first, it gets ripe first. So olives there on top, then the middle, then the bottom. They take 3 harvests, a few weeks apart, and they take the top harvest and they make 3 things out of it. First, they squeeze it by hand with a mortar. That's used for the menorah. Then they put it under a beam and it becomes pressed. That's the second level. That's not for the menorah. That's for Kor Mincha. And then they grind it up, and that's made for another thing. And they do that with the second harvest a few weeks later, and they do that with the third harvest a few weeks later. 9 different harvests. So the menorah is always the first, when it gets the top, squeezed it, that's for the menorah. A week or 2 later, when they harvest the next, the first bunch was squeezed, that's for the menorah. The third part of the tree on the bottom, when they harvest that, they squeeze it by a hand, mortar and pestle, that's used for the menorah. The second level, they put it under a big beam and roll the beam, that's for menachas. Then the third one, they grind it, that's for something else. So, kosis means squeeze, not ground. You bring together Aaron, Achicha, your brother, Vezbonov and his sons, eat toe with him, the toe b'nei Yisrael from amongst the b'nei Yisrael, the Chaim, they shall be my Kohanim. Before the Levi, Aaron, Moshe is also Levi, part of Levi was chosen, one for Kahuna, one for Levi. Moshe was Leviim, and all his children were Leviim, and all of Aaron's children are Kohanim, but the Shevet Levi was Kohanim Li. The Kohanim do a higher form, and the Leviim are type of Kohanim too. They help the Leviim, the Kohanim. So, they should be my Kohen, to serve me. Aaron and Nadav Avihu, Aaron and his 4 children, B'nai Aaron, the sons of Aaron. Now we're going to talk about the Aaron cannot serve unless there's special garments. 8 garments that the Kohen Gadol wore, and 4 that the Kohen Hedyot wore, and their shatnez. And if you don't wear them, you can't miss them. 3 of the 8 were shatnez, 3 were pure linen. And 1 was not a garment at all, was a metal plate over here. And 1 was michnesayim underwear, that's not covered, not tifaris, that's covered up. So you'll see the 8 garments altogether. So make for Aaron big day, kodesh, holy garments. L'Aaron achich, for Aaron your brother, l'chavod for honor, and tifaris, for beauty. Now, no one sees the underwear. That's not covered. That's not tifaris. So therefore, it falls in 3 categories: 3 shatnez, 3 linen, 3 and 3 is 6. 1 sits, which is not a beggar. It's not a malbush. It's a piece of adorned like a jewelry. 1 is underwear. V'atol hedaber el kol chachmei lev. Speak to all wise people, weavers and embroiderers, that I filled him with wisdom. These people became instant, overnight craftsmen. God gave them that ability, that talent. If you had some kind of talent, He gave you this wisdom of weaving and sewing and in metalwork and different things. Hashem gave these fortunate, talented people these skills to do all these things, to maybe goldsmiths and silversmiths and wood carvers and designers and weavers. She makes as big day Aaron, they should make the big day Aharon, the kadsho, to make them holy, because without the garments you cannot serve. To serve me, these are the garments you have to make. Choshen, breastplate. Ephod, a back skirt, but that's straps up to here, from the back all the way up to here. A me'il, a long blue robe with no sleeves. Ukasondis tashbeitz, a long white robe, quilted, with long sleeves. Mitznefes, a linen turban. Va'avneit, in a belt. Also big day kodesh l'Aaron achicha, and they are holy garments of Aaron your brother. Ulavanav and the son lechahanoli, to serve me. The haim yichos hazov, and they took the gold, because within the fibers of the begodim linen and the 3 wools, they mixed in a fiber of gold, a strip of gold, so it had a certain gold glister. The Mishkan was not made with gold; it was linen and 3 wools, but no gold. Also, big day Kodesh Lar Nechicha Levana V'Lana the Haim Yikchu Es HaZohav the gold. There's Chelis the light blue. There's Garment the purple. There's Lashoni the red wool. There's Sheish the linen. Also, there's Ha'ephod. They have to make the ephod first. Now, the most important one here is mentioned Choshen first, right, in the list. So why do you say they made the ephod first? The most important one is the Choshen. But how does that hang on? It has to have golden chains and hang it on to the suspenders coming up. So you have to make the ephod first, which is a skirt around the back skirt. It has these straps coming across the back like that, coming up here. And here's a little gold chain to hold on the ephod, the Choshen. And the Choshen had little chains here to hold it onto the belt, to the cummerbund. So how do you put on the Choshen? You first got to make the ephod. Even though the Choshen is the main thing, but that's the most Choshen. But you have to make the ephod first, which is a back skirt with straps coming up the back this way, or some say it comes up this way, and it comes up to here. And here you put the two stones where you grave the names of Klal Yisrael, 6 Shvatim here, 6 over here. Then it comes down with golden shades and holds up. So now you have to talk about the ephod. Ephod, what is ephod? Zohov, out of gold, Chelis and light blue and Bargam and purple, Telashoni red, Sheish and linen, Moshe Zohar, Maseh Choshe. 28 ply. How was that? They took the linen and the 3 wools, shatnez, the 4 fibers, and spun them 6 times. That's 24. Then, before they spun them, they took the 3 wools and the 1 linen, and they put a sliver of a gold thread, and they spun them. Now you have 5 times. They took 6, 32. Yeah, each fiber was 3 wools, 1 linen, spun them 6 times is 24. 6, 12, 6 fours are 24. And then they put in a fiber of gold. It came out to 28. How was that? 7, 14, 21, 28. 7. Oh, they spun it. 6, they put in 6, 3 wools and 1 linen is 4. And they spun it 6 times is 24. Then they put in 1 fiber each time, and then they took the linen, spun it 6 times, put in 1 fiber at 7. Fiber of gold, 1 strip of gold. Then they took the wool, they spun it 6 times, the blue wool, that was 24, put in 1 sliver of 1 strip of gold. Then the red and the blue, the 3 wools, each one spun, and the linen, 6, 4, 24, the 5, the 6, 27, 28. Koach, 28. Why does the Big Day Kahuna have 28 ply, and the Mishkan had 24 ply? 24 ply means to the Mishkan. That's the first cover called the Mishkan, and the parochas all around, and the curtains have to be 24 ply, because you can't enter the base of Mikdash or the Mishkan unless you are familiar in all the books of the Torah, 24 books of the Torah, written law, right? The Big Day Kahuna have to be 28 ply, because 28 is koach. You have to have self-control of your mind and your emotions in your body. Each one of the 8 begodim was machaper for a certain aveira. The turban for arrogance, gaudy haughtiness. Here it sits for azus panim, disrespect. The breastplate for hirurim roim, for thinking bad, and the other begodim for different things. So it was 28 ply. They spun the linen 6 times and put in, after the finish, 1 strip of gold. And they spun the red wool, and the blue wool, and the purple. 24, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah. 28 ply. That's how they did it. Now you make the ephod, the back skirt, zohab, and tchelis, nagomen, telashoni, sheish, Moshe Zohar, 6 ply. Then they put in a strip of gold. Shtei kesefos, 2 shoulder straps coming up the back till here. Chovros, connected, they're crossed over in the back. Yelo shnei ketzosa v'chubon. The cheshav afudos, and this skirt around the middle had a cummerbund. It's only in the back, the skirt. It ended right here at the side. Then they tied it up with a cummerbund. They tied it up or they hooked it up, and when the kosher would be on the chest, the bottom of the kosher had gold chain down to the cummerbund and chains up to the ephod. The thing would not move on your chest. It couldn't move. There, the 12 stones are there. And when the Kohen Gadol wore that, And when he had a decision, he asked the Choshen, the letters would light up. And he put the letters together and find out the answer. And what letters? We'll see in a minute. On every stone, 12 of them, there were 3 stones in a row and 4 rows. These 6, 9, 12. And Reuven was here, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Yisachar, Zebulun, and they had all the olive bays there. And all the letters lit up. So way back in Bereshis, when Yaakov wanted to bench the 12 Shvatim, he says, I can't tell you the secrets, what's going to happen, when Mashiach is going to come. I don't see in your letters, in the letters of your name, Reuben, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, I don't see a Kuf and a Tzadi, Kates. I can't reveal to you the Kates. So Kuf and Tzadi is missing. Then they said, yes, Dad, you're right, but there's no Chestes either. There's no Chet amongst us. So there's 4 letters missing, Kuf, Tzadi, and Chestes. So how could they all light up? You're missing 4 letters out of the 22. So the way the Choshen was made, every stone had 6 letters. 6 times 12 was 72, right? That's why inside the Choshen there was a little parchment with God's name of 72. So every stone has 6 letters. No. Reuven doesn't have 6 letters. 5. Shimon is 5. Levi is 3. Dan is 2. So they came out with 50 letters. So they need 22 more for 72. So every single stone had to have 6 letters. So we'll get to that. But I only give the shiur once a week. So, but you can tune into Torah, Kol HaLashon, a certain telephone number. Where's that telephone number? Here. And you can hear every day shiur how every stone had 6 letters. Reuven is 5, and Shimon is 5, and Levi is 3. You need 6. Tune into the Kol HaLashon 1718. I don't know by heart because it's all programmed here. I don't even know what the numbers are. 1718. It's an international number. All of the United States goes automatically to Bnei Barak, but you get a local number, a New York number. Doesn't cost you a penny. 1718-395-2440. Now, how do you get me? There's hundreds of Megillas Esther. You have to, as soon as the guy picks up, you dial 11101. That's my code. 11101, 11101, and if you want to get all the Haftorahs, they're there too. 11104. Now, every stone has 6 letters. Some don't have it. So they added in Avram, the beginning of Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Shiftei Yisrael. 50 and 22 is 72. And look at Ari Kaplan, he has it draw it out for you. Living Torah, he has it drawn out. Which means Reuven is missing 1 letter, so you put in the first letter of Avraham, And then Shimon is missing 1 letter, they put in the base of Avraham, the second letter. Then Shimon Levi is missing 3. So they put in Roham, that's 3 letters. Then Yitzchak, Yaakov, Shiftei Yisrael. It came out that 50 and 22, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Shiftei Yisrael is 22, is 72. And up here, they wrote 50 letters. Here, 6 Shvatim here, 6 Shvatim here, that's 50. That was not on the heart of the Kohen Gadol, on the breast of the Kohen Gadol. You have to have 72 letters, because one of Hashem's names is 72, and then and behind the breastplate was a pouch, inside was a parchment with Hashem's name of 72 letters, because 6 times 12 is 72, and the Sanhedrin had 72 people, only 71 voted, because it was an even number, so it can never be a tie, but 71 has to vote, every single one has to vote, or they don't understand it, they have to try the case over again. Every Dayan must vote, so it can never be a tie, because of 71, but the 72. The number 72, he never voted. He was the Muflesh of Bezdin. He was the biggest gadol who understood the case. This way, he explained it, could be either way. Now you make up your mind. He could explain the case, any case, a death sentence of a person, and that's where Sanhedrin was for felonies. Either the Sanhedrin of 23 that could sentence a person to death, or 71. And 23 is also not a number. So, he never voted. the mufla, the most marvelous one, the biggest brain, he explained the case either way. And you have to make up your mind. So there's 71 voters, 72 people in Sanhedrin, 71 voted. And let's go a little further. Also, it's an ephod zohar, the chedos to make the ephod, this skirt in the back with these straps up the back, at a shatnez, because it was zohar, a gold strip, and the chedos light blue, agomon, telah shoni, and linen. Moshe Zohar twisted. Masih choshev, so it was 28 ply, because 28 is koach. Shtei kesefos, 2 shoulder here came up to the shoulders. Chovros, year snake, okay. And you make a little gold chain holding up the choshen. And you take, on here is 2 shoham stones, flat. It's a black stone, shoham. And you write 6 names of Nesol here, 6 over here. Together is 50 letters. Shishim Mishmos, Evanacha, 6 of them on 1 stone. Mishmos, Hashisha, Ad Nesom, the other 6 on the other stone. And how do you write them? The way they were born? Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, and then like that? Or was it Yehuda first, because he was the Melech? Or was it the way they were written, and when they got the Hagrizim or Ha'evol? There are 7 versions how to write these names. 7 shittas. Want to see where you can find them? Aryeh Kaplan, Living Torah. He tells you all the Gemaras, the 7 shittas. How they wrote these names. Was it chronological order, the way they were born? Was it only this left side shoulder was chronological? Because the pasuk says the second 6, they're alpish shemosam according to the way they're born, but not the first 6? Or was it how they were described at Harizim, Hagrizim, Ha'evil? Or was it by their birth? The 7 shittas. Learning Torah isn't easy. There's reasons for all these shittas. And these stones here, the names were written out by a worm, a shomir. A worm engraved it. Now let me ask you something. A worm engraved? I had to know how to write out the name Reuven. So they took ink, they wrote Reish, Aleph, Beis, Reish Ayin, Reish Aleph, Vav, Beis Nun, Reuven, Shimon, Shin, Mem Ayin, Nun. And they wrote it out in ink, and the worm followed the ink and cut out from the stone the word Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda. Now, how could you do that? First of all, we don't do mitzvahs with something we can't eat. You don't take a shofar from an animal that's treif. You don't do. It's always a dovish mutter b'chich or something you have to eat. And you can use a shofar, kosher animal. How can you use a worm to do that? And besides, you're ruining some of the stone material falls out when it engraves it. Can't be chosser. So you ask that question, how can you have a sheretz, a worm? So how did you get the tchedas on the tzitzis? By a snail. How? And how you have telah shoni, red wool, from a telas, a worm? Really? Wow. And the biggest shocker is, how do you finish the hides of parchment to be used for Sefer Torah? You use the dehydrated dung, feces of a dog. They can use that to process the leather. Shocking things, right? How does the Kohen wear shatnez? How does the Kohen wear shatnez? How do you like the menorah that makes the mikdash kill animals on Shabbos? How? Like the menorah on Shabbos? A lot of dilemmas, aren't there? Inside the Beis HaMikdash or the Mishkan, you don't need Shabbos. Because the Shekhinah is there every second. Why do you need Shabbos? Shabbos is to remind you every 7 days that Hashem is the creator. And He created the world. And during the week He did all the 39 melachos. Yesh me'ayin. He did something from nothing. He created from nothing 39 types of activity. And Shabbos He did nothing. Ayin mi'yesh. You can't do any of the 39 melachos. Shabbos means you believe in God as the creator. So you don't need the laws of Shabbos. You can shech, light the menorah Shabbos afternoon. What about shatnez? You don't have to worry about shatnez. A Kohen Gadol in the Beis HaMikdash wears shatnez. He has to wear Shabbos, otherwise chayiv mitzvah. When he comes out, he can't walk out of the building with that. Otherwise, he's over a lav, deraisa, silver shatnez, don't wear shatnez. While he's doing that, avodah shatnez doesn't apply. There's a whole philosophy about that. So, shamir, a worm. So the worm does not leave anything of itself in the rock here when it engraves. In fact, it does not dig out and remove some stone. Every piece of that stone is kodesh. How can you have left over? So does how? It's like you press your hand down in clay. Nothing goes up. It depresses. Same thing with that shamir. Hashem made it that this shamir pressed down on the shoham stone. Nothing got popped up. Everything stayed level, and it depressed the material. It compacted the atomic material of the sapphire. So nothing of the shamir is in the stone. So what's wrong with that? Special kind of worm. Telah shani, the red worm. It's not really a red worm. It's a seed that looks like a worm and has red dye. And the chalazon, the snail, where we get the light blue tcheles, says the note of Yehuda, since the dye is so permanent into the wool, you can never extract it ever, ever, ever. So it's not another thing. It's part of the wool. It's not something else. The wool became dyed. It's not something else that could be removed. So you can use the cheles, and you can use the shomir, and the telah shani. By the way, I want to tell you something. The cheles is light blue, right? The cheles is written with a chaf. How come in Hebrew blue is with the ches, the chol? The cheles is with a chaf, and the real color for blue is the chol with a ches. How does it work? So you should know something. The cheles means early morning light blue of when the sun just comes up. Techilo, when the sun just starts. Early morning blue. But the regular color blue is tough ches vav lamed. But the early sunrise blue, that's the techilo when it starts. Now let's talk a few things about Megillas Esther. If you want to know more about this, call that number, and you can find all the details of every aliyah every day. I think we're up to 2,100 shurim. All right, let's talk about here this. You can go in Torah anytime, right here, and print this. It's up online. Questions and answers on Megillas, on Purim and Megillas Esther. Where do we see in the Megillah the date the 10 infamous Nazi war criminals were hung? That's right, in 1946. Similar to Haman's 10 sons who were hung. Maybe hanged would be better English. We hung the picture, we hanged the man. Correct. Where do you see in the Megillah, Esther, the Chmelnitsky, a remez to the Chmelnitsky massacres of 1648, where 100,000 Polish Jews were killed in 2 years by this Bogdan Chmelnitsky. He was the enemy of the Polish government. They caught him and they killed him, decapitated him in front of all the Jews. But he got away with it for 2 years. And where do you see in the Megillah the date of the start of the Second World War? Let's take a look at the answers. The date the 10 infamous Nazi war criminals were hung by the Allies, similar to Haman's 10 sons that were hung too. Where do you see this in Megillah? Well, at the end of the Megillah, when it mentions Haman's 10 sons, they mention all the 10 sons. Amongst the 10 sons, there's 3 letters that are written very small. And no one knew for centuries why that was, until the end of the Second World War. The letters that were small was Tuf, Shin, and Zayin. That is Gematria 707. And then one of his sons, Vayizosa, has a very big Vav. Vav, the 6th millennium, which is 5,000, and 707, 5707 is 1946. And we're talking about the 3 letters are in the dead hung sons of Haman, the sons that were hanged. And that was the year that the 10 Nazis were hung, in 1946. Tov Shin Zayin. 707 with the big Vav is the 6th millennium, 5,000. 707, which is 5707 is 1946. in Nuremberg, Germany, where the Nazis in 1933 made the laws against the Jews in Nuremberg, Germany. They did against the Jews to wipe them out, the final solution. That's where 33, 43, 13 years later, they were hung, the 10 Nazis. Now, you know that Haman had 11 children. 10 sons were hung 11 months after he was hung. And he had one child who committed suicide. She saw Haman pulling along the horse when Mordechai was sitting there, and she thought for sure her husband is in the white horse with the white garments like the king, and Mordechai was pulling the wagon, and Haman was sitting there, and she poured dirty toilet water over the person pulling the horse. It wasn't Mordechai, it was her father. When she saw how she was mabaz her father barabim, she jumped out and committed suicide. The night before the 10 Nazis were hung, one Nazi committed suicide. Goebbels, or Goering or something, committed suicide. He had a cyanide pill in his mouth, he squeezed it and he died. Exactly like the Megillah. Wow. That's pretty tight. P.S. Stalin, Yamach Shemo, also died on Purim in 1953, after 46, a few years later. And Saddam Hussein was defeated by President George Bush the first on Purim, 1991. Number 2, Khmelnytsky massacres of 1648, with 100,000 older Jews were killed in 2 years. In the Megillah, you have 2 letters very large. In the beginning, Chur Kappas et Chen is the big Ches, and at the end of the Megillah, Tov. Tov Ches is 408. In the year 5408, 300 years ago, that's year 1648, Khmelnytsky massacres happened where this guy Bogdan Khmelnytsky, a bandit of the Polish government with the government of his people, they killed 100,000 Jews. That's called Gezeres Tach, Tov Ches, 408, 5408, which is 1648, and Gezeres Tach, and Tat, the next year, 49, 1648, 1649, a year and a half. 2 years they just killed a lot of Jews. That's in the Megillah hinted to by the big letters Tov Ches. And now we get to the third thing. The date of the start of the Second World War. Well, it's not in Megillas Esther, but it's in Megillas Eicha. Where do you see it? The last chapter 5, where it says, Zchor Hashem Mahayilanu. Look Hashem, what happened to us. If you add up the gematrias of the words, the 6 words, the missing letters, and add the words up with the without those letters, with the missing letters, you're going to come out to 698. And since it's the 5th chapter of Eichel, you had a 5. 5698. You know what the year 5698 was? 1939, the start of the Second World War. That in Hebrew is Tov Reish Tzadiches, Tirtzach, to slaughter. Or Tehi Retzach, there'll be a slaughter. That's when the Second World War started, when Germany invaded, on September 1st, invaded Poland at the beginning of the Second World War and the destruction of the Jewish people. Remember Hashem, Zechar Hashem Mahayolanu. That was the worst thing that ever happened to us. 6 million Jews. And that's where it's hinted in Megillas Eicha that the war started in 1939, because if you add up the words, the words of the 6, with the missing letters, you add up the word with the missing, not counting the missing letters, come out to 5608, 5698. All right, Rabbi said we're finished. If you want more of this, download it and print it on your computer. Have a good week and a wonderful Mirz Hashem. Good things will happen this month for us in the month of Adar. Have a wonderful Friday Purim.